Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. So tonight, I'm doing something a little bit different. Like it's kind of a usual review, but not exactly. So I've already said this in a community post, but just in case if no one's seen it, I got called in. I'm going to get called into work tomorrow evening. To work the late night shift, meaning that unfortunately I had to refund my ticket for House of a Thousand Corpses, because there's only 2 show times tomorrow night, and I'm not going to be able to see either of them. There's one show time that technically I'd be able to see on Wednesday evening, but by the time that's over, it will already be 10 o'clock, and I work an early morning shift the next day. And I've already worked a morning shift. I've already worked an early morning shift and didn't go to bed until 10 o'clock, and it wasn't fun. It just happened last week. So I'm not going to put myself through that again, not even to see a movie like this. So instead, I'm just going to go off of memory about when I did see House of a Thousand Corpses. And from what I remember, the movie was alright. It wasn't the first Rob Zombie movie I saw. I actually saw Rob Zombie's Halloween films before that, and despite all the flack that those movies got, I really liked them. Like, although to be fair, I wasn't really expecting much from like a horror movie or like Halloween at the time. So I went into these movies knowing like the kind of direction that Rob Zombie tends to take with his films. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story was alright about these kids going to some backwater town in Texas. At least I think it was Texas, because they were told like the legend of Dr. Satan by Captain Spaulding, played by the late Sid Haig. Rest in peace, that guy. He's easily the best part of the film. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of screen time. Like I didn't really realize until I actually saw the film that Sid Haig like bookends the film. Like he's there at the beginning of it, and then he's there at the end of it, and that's really it. It's not really until The Devil's Rejects that he gets way more scenes. But for the screen time that he has, he's pretty good in it. Like, I mean, come on, you see his character Captain Spaulding on T-shirts and tattoos, so he's easily the most recognizable part of that trilogy. But the rest of the characters are pretty good. Like even the survivors, like you get to see Rainn Wilson before he was on The Office. That's pretty cool. Otis Driftwood is alright. I mean, I liked him better in The Devil's Rejects and even 3 from Hell. But here he's okay. Honestly, there's a lot of times where I forget that he's played by Bill Moseley, who was in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I like to see House of a Thousand Corpses as basically Rob Zombie's version of Texas Chainsaw. But he also kind of makes it a different kind of character. At least that's the way I saw it. Baby Firefly was an interesting character too. I know that there's some people who have said that Sheri Moon Zombie is a bad actress, and that might be true. And I do think that she does get a lot of her roles in those films because she's Rob Zombie's wife. which there's nothing really bad about that. But I do think that the version of Baby that she played in House of a Thousand Corpses, I think that version of her where like she's completely psycho and off the rails fit best with this film, because this was the one that was like this was the one that's actually like pretty different from Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell. Like, it's more like artsy and creative, and also a little bit more messed up. Like, Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, those were played off as more realistic. House of a Thousand Corpses, in my opinion, like, was a little bit more surreal. Like, at the very end of the movie, if I remember correctly, they had like these midget zombies like rise up from the ground. I mean, I know I didn't see that in Devil's Rejects at all. And they even have like Dr. Satan make an appearance, and he looks all grotesque and like almost mummified. And I'm pretty sure there was a deleted scene where that does show him in Devil's Rejects, but it got cut. But basically, there's all these like crazy, surreal moments from House of a Thousand that you don't find and that you don't see in like the other two films, which I always thought was a little bit interesting that they did that, especially because again, like they had those like midget zombie trolls running around at the end of the film, and there was that whole underground layer with that huge hulking guy. I don't know. That's really the only gripe I've had about the film. I mean, I wasn't looking at this thinking, expecting it to be like a masterpiece, like The Godfather of horror movies. But for what it's worth, the movie was pretty good. Just in my opinion, it's something that you should probably turn the brain off at. And I guess one more nitpick would be that that whenever Rob Zombie like has soundtrack music playing, he kind of leaves it on a little bit too long, in my opinion. Like, there's one scene in particular. There's one scene in particular where Otis Driftwood and the mom of the Firefly clan, they kill these cops who are investigating the area for the missing kids, right? And once the first cop dies, and the second is just on his knees begging for mercy, Otis just holds him at gunpoint for what feels like 2-3 minutes until he eventually pulls the trigger. Now, if the cop really was begging for mercy, and like Otis was just letting him beg until he finally stopped begging, or he got bored and Otis just shot him, that would have made more sense. But you don't really hear him beg. It just has the music play on and on and on while the camera slowly pulls out. And it's just that one scene in particular, and other scenes like that, such as in The Devil's Rejects, where at the end of the film, like, he just plays Freebird over the Fireflies literally waking up in a car and then getting into a gunfight. It's those kind of scenes that I feel like just slows down the pace into a halt, basically. But other than those two problems that I really had with the film, which the first one I wouldn't even really call a problem, I just thought it was like an odd directing choice, mostly for Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, where basically the first one feels like a black sheep, and the other two actually fit nicely in together, at least with the style of directing. All in all, like, it really is a fun film. Like, it's definitely a movie that you can watch like over Halloween or on a weekend on a Friday night. it, but it's a good Rob Zombie film, is what I'm not trying to say. But that's really it for this one. This was a really short review because like I'm literally going off of memory from the last time I watched this movie, like sometime last year. I'm actually a little bit surprised that I remember this much. If I do ever decide that I'm going to see the re-release in theaters on Wednesday, then I might make a bigger video, but don't hold me to that. And I know that I said in the post that I'm going to do a review of Exorcist Believer. That's gonna, I promise that'll come out either Sunday or Monday. But from what I heard about it and from what I've already made up my mind about with the trailers, I don't have high hopes for this one. But that's it for this. That's it for this like mini review, I guess. And I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Anyway, good night.